Eye of the Eagle by Gail Spencer-Lamm. I started with a blank canvas and added a lot of dark areas with black paint. I just use paint from the dollar store here in town. It takes a lot of layers to get a lot of good color onto the canvas because of the paint that I chose. I started to find shapes in the paint, and then I decided I would add a dark layer of blue to complement the pink and try to keep finding those shapes and developing them. I had no idea what this was going to become. I started to really enhance the shapes and develop them a little bit more and try to figure out what was becoming. Then I added some African violet and kept embellishing the shapes. I decided to highlight what I had on the canvas and try to see what it was becoming. At first I thought it might be a flower. I wanted some lighter areas, and I next got into a nice bright very berry color. I just kept adding to my shapes, stepping back, taking a look, asking myself what I wanted next, what was calling to me. I really enjoyed that red color. Then I decided I would define the shapes with black lines. I used a rigger brush to make nice noodly lines, and I just kept looking for the shapes that were becoming. I wanted to highlight some areas and low light some areas, pull things forward and send things back. And then I had to get into some nice warm yellow, and mixing the red and the yellow helped me to create an analogous color in between the yellow and red, and some orange was what came next. Building and building, adding and adding, layering and layering. More lines, more shapes, more definition. And at this point I started to think I had a fire on my hands. First I thought it was a flower, then it became a fire. After I looked at it, I decided it needed a nice bright contrasting color, and I love turquoise, so I quite often choose that color. I had no idea this was going to become an eagle. None. But I just kept adding and layering and defining and building. Don't forget to paint the sides. I'm always telling myself that. Tone on tone, bright red on top of deep red, orange and yellow. Then I got into a little bit of light turquoise that I mixed by just adding some white to the paint I was already using. And suddenly I realized I had an eyeball on my hands. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I didn't like it too much, but I kept going, and adding things to give myself something to respond to. I really did not want an eyeball. I got out the Posca markers once it was dry and started to embellish it. And I was liking it a little bit better at this point. I wanted to add some more turquoise. At this point I wanted to stick to mostly to the colors I had already going on the canvas, not really adding too much more, but I was emphasizing what I had. And then the black lines called me again and I had to add more of them. I really started to love the flowing shapes in the canvas at this point. I'm back to the Posca markers and adding embellishments. Sometimes I don't like the embellishments that I put on the canvas and I can cover them over again. It's just paint. I added a little bit of neon yellow into some areas to make them pop out around the eagle's eye. Honestly, I had no intention of making an eagle, but that's just what happened. Then it's time to sign the work and enjoy. Surprise, surprise, you never know what you're going to get when you start intuitive painting.